Hi, my name is Jessica Enderlin, and this is my video interview application for the Rural School Leadership Academy. And thank you for taking the time to review my application. I apologize in advance. My computer quality is not that great, and I will be periodically looking down at some notes. I hope that's okay. Thank you so much. Little bit about me. I am a second-year Corps member in the Arkansas Southern Delta. I teach at Lee High School, which is in Marianna, Arkansas. I've been here in Arkansas since I was about 9 or 10, so I've been here for quite a while. I've been in the Delta for about a year and a half, and even though home is where I consider home is an hour and a half away from here, a lot of the time it does feel like a completely different world. So I'm very glad to be here. I'm very glad for what I'm doing. I feel like I'm making change every day, and I just hope I can keep doing that. Guess I'll go ahead and get started with the question, so thank you. Number one is, many career possibilities are available to you. Why do you want to lead others in a school? I have always strived to make sure I participate in leadership positions. So whether it's with clubs or like I was in a sorority, whenever I do extracurricular activities, I've taken on a few at the school that I work at. So I've had a couple of different ones and I've really enjoyed them. And I've gained a lot of skills from them. I've learned a lot about collaboration. I've learned a lot about how to design programs that's in the most efficient way, the best way to make sure whatever the program is, it succeeds, whether it's a fundraiser or an awareness group, whatever it is. And this kind of ties into question 2, which is about why I want to do it in a rural school. As I'm from Arkansas, I know and have a pretty good idea of what the situation is like for rural schools, even before I came here to Marianna. Just because I lived in Central Arkansas my whole life. All my family is spread out all over the state. And so I was always kind of seeing it, and I was like, okay, you're good if you're in a city, but if you're rural, it's a little bit tough. So I would really like to lead because I think I have a lot of ideas, and I think I have a lot of qualifications that would help me be good at it. Leadership for me is about inspiring success and providing ways to make sure that everyone who's on your team can succeed. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. It would take me more than 15 minutes to explain. But my main goal is to make sure that I can work with people and I can come up with clear expectations of things they can do to help themselves and to help their communities. Number 2, so this kind of tags on to the end of it. You could develop yourself as a school leader anywhere. Why do you have a particular passion to lead in a rural region? Again, I grew up here. Out of about 80, 70 Arkansas Corps members, I'm one of 5 or 10 that's actually from Arkansas. So I'm a little bit unique in that regard. And more than anything, I want to stay here in Arkansas, and I plan to stay here in Arkansas. When I applied for TFA, I did it so I could move away from home, because I wanted the chance to move to a different state, get some new experiences, things like that. And when I was placed to stay in Arkansas, I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. This is a good decision. And now I'm never leaving. I'm here forever. And I want to stay with that in education as a leader because I think I can make a big change for the students who attend rural schools here. I see the differences between rural schools and the urban schools. I grew up going to a private school in Little Rock, Arkansas. I've seen big public schools in Little Rock and other big towns all over Arkansas. I've seen all these schools, and it's kind of hard for me to watch because I see things at these schools that my kids, there's no way they're going to have access to them before they graduate. And it puts them behind. They get to college and they just haven't had access to the same things. They don't have the same opportunities. But I'll go to a football game for my brother or something. He's still in high school. And I'll see like kids running around with massive cameras that the journalism program paid for. Or I'll see like these football teams that have all these equipment and all these coaches. Our football team is tiny, and it's because a lot of kids can't go to practice because they have to take the bus. And just tons and tons of things, like all these sponsorships, and it all screams money. A lot of it's about money, and the reality is rural schools don't have money, and they don't have those same resources. That's not to say they can't get them. It's just a lot of the time, no one's really sure how, and location-wise, they're not very close. So as a leader in a rural region, my goal would be to bring those resources to the students. I want my kids to have more than 3 sports: football, basketball, volleyball, and cheer. That's 4, sorry. I want them to have more than 4 sports. I want them to have more time for extracurriculars. Like, we don't really have that many clubs because no kids can stay after school because they all have to take the bus. And our lunch block is only 30 minutes. Can't really fit a lot in there. So we don't have a lot of just basic things. We don't have the same proms. We don't really have, like, dances. There's not, like, a lot of social activities. And a lot of different curricular things that you would expect. Like, we don't have that many, what are they called? The classes you take that aren't required core, you know what I mean. We don't have any classes outside of the core classes typically. So, like, for example, you may want to take a photography class. You may want to take a journalism class. You may want to take an ACT prep course. We don't have those. And as a leader in a rural school, I really want to make sure the kids I would serve at that school would have those resources. And I don't know how to do that yet. I'm a second-year teacher, and I'm still getting immersed in the community I'm in now. It takes a while to kind of settle in. And so I think my first goal would be to get to know a community, be there as a teacher for a while, and then I'm kind of moving to administration. 1, when I have enough classroom experience so that I know what I'm talking about. 2, when I know what some of those resources and opportunities would be and how I would get them to my rural students so that they could have more opportunities, so that when they got to college, they weren't already behind. I think that would be the best way to serve them and to bring some of that greatness back to those rural schools so that it's not all just clumped in those urban areas. I think that's very important, and I think it would be a great step in closing the equity gap that we have a lot of the time, especially because in, say, these rural schools, it's a lot of minority students, and that's a whole nother factor into it. But just getting these resources, I think, will help close that gap and make sure that students have the same opportunities so they can all reach the same potential. Final question is question number 3. If you could talk to my current principal, the janitor at my school, a colleague in my department, or a student's parent or family member and ask them to describe me, what words would these be and why? How accurate do I think these words are? If they're not accurate, why do you think they would choose those words? So, I get asked this a lot. I think the main one that I would start with would be students' parent or families. You talk to them a lot. Talk to them on the phone, talk to them in the grocery store, text them when the kid is having some problems, or if you just want to tell them something really good. But I think parents would consider me pretty responsive, and I think they would consider me pretty initiative. Just say there's a kid. If he's having a problem, I try to contact mom and dad before it turns into a bigger problem, before it gets into, say, like a referral. So I think parents usually consider me pretty responsive, and I think they think that I try to keep on top of things to make sure everything happens for the best of the kid. I think that's pretty accurate. I hope that's accurate. Because my main goal is I don't want my kids getting in trouble. The only option they have when they get in trouble around here is suspension. If a kid gets suspended for 3 days because he was acting up in my class for 2 days or whatever, that doesn't help either of us. Then I have to give him makeup work. He misses time in the class. His parents have to worry about him while he's at home for 2 or 3 days. Da-da-da-da-da. I'd rather work with a parent and get it solved. Next one would probably be my principal, who I know for a fact she considers me very blunt, and I'm going to own up to that. I am very blunt. I am very straightforward. I am very objective. I like things efficient, and this is where I get serious. I don't like things to occur, procedures to occur, that could hinder the success of my kids. If there's something we're doing and it's not going to help my kids, I will do everything in my power to make sure it helps them or find a way to make it help them. I say things that I believe are very true and need to be spoken. I don't necessarily like to sugarcoat. At the same time, I don't do it to be malicious. I don't do it to tear people down. I do and say what I do because I want my students to have the best things possible. And I don't want anything to get in the way of that. They already have enough struggles where they're coming from. And so I don't want to add to those struggles, but from a whole institutional level. After the principal, I would say the janitor. I think we have a very good relationship. We're pretty cordial. Every day he comes in, sweeps my room, I say hi in the hallways. It's just one of those things you catch up every day, you talk, just about how our days went, things like that. I think we have a good relationship. I think he would consider me friendly, at the very least cordial. We haven't really had a deep discussion about anything, but he's always been very kind to me, and I appreciate that, because there are some days when he walks in at 3:05 after the bell rings, and he can tell I'm about to just, you know, when it's been one of those days. It's been a tough day, and he's always been very kind to me, and I'm very thankful for that. Last but not least, a colleague in my department. So there's only actually 3 people in the science department. There is me, and I teach biology, AP biology, and environmental science. There is another man, he teaches physical science and chemistry. And there's one more, and he teaches 7th and 8th grade science. So there's about 3 of us, there are 3 of us between about 400 students. So there's quite a lot, and between 3 of us, we have a combined 5 years of teaching experience. So we're all very new, which requires us to work together a lot. There's a lot of collaboration. I believe we all consider each other very respectful and very collaborative, because we have to be if we want to keep our heads afloat. And we work really well together. Whenever we come up with problems, or we're like, hey, I have this management problem. You had this kid last year. What can you tell me about him? Or, hey, you know more about atoms than I do. Can you help me with this? Or what's a good opportunity to explain it? So we work together a lot. We're very collaborative, and we try to make sure that we come up with ways together to make sure all of our curriculums work well. So that's what we like to do and how we do it. Everything I said that I think they would say about me, I think is accurate. I assume that's what they would say. That's what I think, at least. And I'm pretty good at telling normally. But I want to thank you for reviewing this application and watching these video essays. And thank you very much for your time. I hope you will consider me for your program. I would really like to gain some more skills so that I could potentially become a school leader someday. And I feel like I already have some of the basics, but I know I have a lot of growing to do. And I think your program would really help me grow like that. So thank you for watching and reviewing, and I look forward to talking to you. Thank you so much.